Welcome to our deep dive. This time it's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and wow. Chapter one, Robert Kiyosaki really throws down the gauntlet right from the start about how we think about money. You gave us some pretty intense excerpts to work with.
Yeah, this chapter really is like the foundation for his whole philosophy. The whole book. It's all about comparing these different mindsets he learned growing up from his own dad and then his friend's dad, the so-called rich dad.
Yeah, and it's pretty wild, right? You've got poor dad, brilliant guy, PhD and all, but always struggling with money. And you got rich dad, didn't even finish eighth grade, but he's the one living the good life. Makes you wonder if we've got it all wrong about what success really means.
Totally. Kiyosaki is saying it's not just about working your tail off or getting that fancy degree. It's something else. He calls it financial literacy. It's like this deeper understanding of how money works, not just how to earn it.
He even throws in this story about himself and his buddy Mike when they were just kids, like 9 years old.
Yeah.
They're trying to get rich quick, literally making money, casting nickels out of lead.
Yeah.
Obviously not the way to go about it.
Yeah.
But it shows you that entrepreneurial spirit, even back then.
Shows you that action, even if it's totally misguided, is how you learn. And then later, Rich Dad, he gives these boys a job, but it's only 10 cents an hour. Sounds kind of brutal, right? But he's got a bigger point to make.
Oh, yeah. He's showing them what he calls the rat race, that whole thing of work, paycheck, bills, repeat, never really getting ahead. It's like that fear of not having enough runs your life instead of the other way around.
Exactly. Rich Dad pushes them, even offers them raises to see if they'll fall back into that trap. And Kiyosaki talks about how he kept turning down more and more money. It was a test.
Yeah.
Resisting that instant gratification and learning to think long term.
That whole idea of fear and desire, like they control so much of what we do with money. How many times have we blown our budget because we're scared of missing out, or we just got to have that new gadget,
And Kiyosaki saying those feelings, they're always going to be there. It's not about getting rid of them. It's about using them, learning to make decisions with your head, not just your gut. It's like building up your financial IQ, which is funny because it's not something they teach you in school, is it?
And that's a big part of his argument, right? That we're not taught about money in school. So we end up struggling financially. It's like we know how to work for money, but not how to make money work for us.
It's a pretty bold statement. He's basically saying if schools taught people about money, there'd be more money and lower prices. I don't know if I buy that completely, but it makes you think, what does it really mean to be financially educated? What does that even look like?
Well, it gives this great example of the boys setting up a comic book library in Mike's basement. They saw a need, found some old comics, and boom, kids are paying to rent their entertainment. That's money working for you right there.
Oh, totally. They created this little asset, the library, bringing in cash without them having to be there all the time. Plus, they even got Mike's little sister involved, paid her $1 a week to run the whole thing.
Simple idea, but it shows you the power of delegating, building a system that works even when you're not. It's amazing they were only 9 when they did this.
That's what's so cool about Kiyosaki's approach. He's showing us that this stuff isn't rocket science. It's about shifting how you think about money and taking action, even if it's something small like this comic book operation.
So chapter 1, it's like a wake-up call, right? Makes you question everything you thought you knew about money and success. It's like he's asking, are you working for your money or is your money working for you?
And that is the question, isn't it? But Kiyosaki doesn't stop there. He hints that Rich Dad has all these strategies, like secrets he's going to teach these boys. He calls it taking them into the briar patch. Kinda ominous, if you ask me. What do you think he means by that?
Yeah, it definitely sounds like these kids are in for a wild ride. Makes you wonder, what are these secrets that Rich Dad's got up his sleeve? What does it even mean to go into the briar patch when we're talking about money?
Makes you want to keep reading to find out.
And that's exactly what we'll be doing. In the next part of our deep dive, we're going to dig even deeper into chapter 1, uncovering more of Rich Dad's unconventional wisdom and those strategies he's hinting at. Stay tuned.
So we're left with this briar patch idea, right? What does that even look like when it comes to money and learning about it? Does Kiyosaki give us any hints about Rich Dad's strategies in this chapter?
Well, he doesn't give us like a step-by-step plan or anything, but there are definitely some clues about how Rich Dad thinks differently about money. Like that whole thing about the rich making money, not just working for it. It's like he's saying there are ways to create wealth that most people don't even know about.
Right. And remember that story with the lead nickels? Rich Dad says they were close to thinking like the rich, but they were doing it illegally. So he's implying there are legal ways to create money, as he puts it. But what does that even mean? Is he talking about investments, real estate, starting a business?
He's kind of vague there, I'll admit it. But he does mention this whole thing about going off the gold standard and how that could hurt people who believe money is real. I'm not an economist, but it seems like he's saying that money is more about perception and confidence than actual, like, tangible value.
Huh. That's interesting. Makes me think about the stock market. A company's stock can go up or down based on how investors feel about the company's future, not necessarily like what they actually own right now.
Exactly. So maybe this making money thing is about understanding these big financial systems and knowing how to use them to your advantage, not just working hard within the system.
And that seems to go back to financial literacy. It's not enough to just want to be rich or to like control your fear and desire. You need the actual knowledge and skills to make smart decisions about money, right?
Totally. But he also criticizes business schools, which seems kind of weird since he encourages Mike to get his MBA. What do you think about that?
It is kind of strange, isn't it? He seems to be saying that business schools teach you the technical stuff about finance, but not necessarily how to think outside the box when it comes to building wealth. It's like he's making a difference between financial knowledge and what he calls financial intelligence or financial IQ.
So what is this financial IQ thing he keeps talking about? It's got to be more than just knowing how to budget or invest, right?
I think he means being able to see opportunities that other people miss, to understand how money flows and make decisions that help you reach your long-term goals. It's like having a sixth sense for money almost.
And that goes back to his point about not being a slave to money, right?
Yep.
It's about being in control of your finances instead of letting your emotions or lack of knowledge control you.
Totally. He seems to believe that real freedom comes from mastering money, not letting it master you. And that involves more than just earning a big paycheck. It's about making your money work for you, building things that create wealth, even when you're not working.
Which brings us back to the briar patch. He describes it as this place where you have to confront fear and greed, those emotions that can lead to bad financial decisions. So is he saying that the path to financial freedom is full of risks and challenges?
It kind of seems that way. He's implying that most people stay stuck in the rat race because they're afraid to step outside their comfort zone,
Definitely.
to take those risks that could lead to bigger rewards.
So what does it mean to take those risks? Does he give us any examples in this chapter?
Not really specific ones, but he keeps saying, see opportunities that others miss. He's saying that once you develop your financial intelligence, you start seeing the world differently. You recognize opportunities that were always there, but you couldn't see them because of fear or just not knowing any better.
It's like you put on a new pair of glasses and suddenly the world is full of possibilities.
Yeah, exactly. And he seems to think that being able to spot opportunities is super important for building wealth. It's not about luck or inheritance. It's about being proactive and creating your own luck, so to speak.
He also mentions taxes being a burden on the poor and middle class, while the rich can avoid them. What's he saying there? Is he telling people to cheat on their taxes?
No, I don't think he's advocating for anything illegal. But he's definitely saying that wealthy people use legal ways to lower their taxes, ways that most people probably don't know about. And that lack of knowledge, he seems to be arguing, is part of what keeps people from getting ahead financially.
So it's not just about working hard and earning money. It's about understanding the rules of the game and using them to your advantage.
Exactly. It's about being informed and taking action, not just accepting things the way they are. And that being proactive, he thinks, is how you break free from the rat race and get real financial freedom.
Okay, so we're starting to see what Rich Dad believes. Master your emotions, get financially smart, find opportunities, and take calculated risks. But how do you actually do all that? It all sounds a bit abstract, doesn't it?
It does, and that's probably what the rest of the book is about. But remember, he says this is a journey, not a destination. It's about constantly learning and getting better over time.
So no magic formulas or get-rich-quick schemes.
Not in this chapter, anyway. But he does say it's important to question what you think you know about money and challenge those traditional ideas about wealth.
It's like he's saying, don't just accept what you were taught. Think for yourself. Be curious and take action.
Exactly. And that's what's so cool about his message. He's not saying that only special people can be financially free. He's saying anyone can do it if they're willing to learn and grow.
And it all starts with changing your mindset, seeing the world through Rich Dad's eyes.
And speaking of Rich Dad, he keeps hinting that there's more to come. More secrets to learn, more challenges to face. He's taking the boys into the briar patch, remember?
So I guess we're going with it now. Let's dive into the next section and see what else we can find. Okay, so we've got these ideas, right? Master your emotions, get financially smarter, look for opportunities, and be brave enough to go for them. It's a lot. But I think what our listeners are wondering is, does this really apply to them?
You know, that's a great point. Because let's be real. Most people aren't going to become these real estate tycoons or retire super early, like Kiyosaki did.
Exactly. So how does all this rich dad stuff help regular people who just want to like manage their money better, maybe do a little investing and, you know, stop stressing about bills so much?
I think that's actually where the book is most helpful. It's not just for people who want to be millionaires. It's about taking control of your money, whatever you make.
So it's more about feeling empowered with your money than just getting rich.
Totally. It's about not feeling helpless, like you're
Yeah.
stuck with whatever your job pays or whatever's happening with the economy. And remember how Rich Dad talked about fear and desire, like they hijack your brain when it comes to money.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like when you see that credit card bill and you just freak out, or you see something on sale and you have to have it even though you don't need it. We've all been there.
Right. Kiyosaki's saying those knee-jerk reactions that get you into trouble financially. That's why he says you got to understand those emotions, not just try to ignore them.
And that's where financial literacy comes in, right?
Yeah.
The more you know about money, the less likely you are to make those dumb decisions based on fear or wanting something right now.
It's like having the right tools to handle those tough money situations. Knowledge is power, you know?
But Rich Dad also talks about taking risks, which can be kind of scary, especially if you're not already rich.
Yeah.
How do you balance that need to be safe with needing to, get into the briar patch?
Yeah, he's not saying you should be reckless and gamble everything away. It's more about taking calculated risks, you know? Pushing yourself a little bit to find opportunities to grow, both financially and in other ways.
Like the boys with their comic book library.
Yeah.
They took a chance and made something out of nothing.
And even though they eventually closed up shop, they learned a ton from that experience. It's like he's saying, don't be afraid to try things out, experiment, and learn from your mistakes.
It makes me think that maybe the briar patch isn't some scary, dangerous place.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just any situation that makes you grow and learn to face your fears head on.
It could be about challenging those ideas we all have about money, like, I could never afford that, or investing is too risky. Maybe Rich Dad is telling us to question those thoughts and see what's possible.
And he's definitely not a fan of the whole job security thing. He seems to think relying on a paycheck is risky, especially these days.
He's all about having multiple streams of income, creating things that make money even when you're not working. And that can look different for everyone. It could be investing, starting a side hustle, even renting out a room in your house.
So it's about not putting all your eggs in one basket, having more options and a stronger financial foundation.
Exactly. It's about taking control of your future instead of just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best.
It's a great message, but it can also be kind of overwhelming. Where do you even start with all of this?
I think a good place to start is just figuring out what you know about money already. You know, budgeting, saving, investing, taxes, debt. How much do you really know? There are tons of resources out there, books, podcasts, online courses, even financial advisors.
And maybe that's the most important thing we've learned from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You got to keep learning about money.
It's a journey, not a destination. And it's a journey worth taking. Because, like Rich Dad says, true wealth isn't just about how much money you have. It's about having the freedom and security to live life the way you want.
This has been a fantastic deep dive, and I think we've all learned a lot from Rich Dad's point of view. What are your final thoughts for our listeners as we wrap up?
I think the biggest takeaway is that financial freedom is possible for anyone. It starts with changing how you think, being willing to learn, and having the guts to take action. So keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep pushing yourself to get smarter about money. Who knows what you might find waiting for you in your own briar patch?
And remember, we're here to help you along the way. We'll keep bringing you these deep dives into awesome books and resources to help you navigate the world of money. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.